Hello, everybody. This is John Ash. Welcome to another episode of DIY Startup with me, talking on Friday night. Tonight, we're going to talk about a very interesting topic. Everybody might think it's a little bit boring, but it's very necessary. Tonight's topic is going to be documentation, business documentation. The simplest kind. I'm going to show you some examples of things that you can do to make your life a little bit easier, help you remember things, especially if you're working with a team. I'm also going to show you some examples of how I organize myself. If you have any ideas on how you organize yourself, please put it in the chat. Also, let me know if the video is good, if the audio is good, how things are going. I don't know. Put it in the chat. That's fine. I'll answer to all that stuff as soon as I can. If you put @E2E Society, it will highlight in yellow, and then I can easily pick it up. So happy Friday, and it's another talk of DIY Startup. So there's been some comments about how the show is not really professional as such. I don't agree with that, first of all, but second of all, this is really not about being a professional. This show is more geared toward the people who would like to become a professional. DIY Startup is a show that's geared to people who have a good idea, would like to start up a business, really don't know where to start, really don't know how to think of things properly, maybe no formal business education, but they'd like to get started and having their own business and being organized and turn a good idea into a successful enterprise. And that's what we talk about every week. We talk about things like that. We talk about how you're gonna how to get yourself organized. We talk about just how to open up your mind to see things and businesses and things that you use every single day that you kind of don't think about, but it's a necessary component of starting your own business and running it. So that's what this show is geared towards. Again, if you have any ideas, put them in the chat before we get started. You know, if everything's going okay, let's check the chat. How many people we have tonight? It seems that tonight we have 3 concurrent viewers. I have a pretty good idea who that is. People in there, that's good. Okay, Janine is saying I'm a little audio's a little scratchy. I'm working on that. Turn down the gain a little. Try that and keep it in the green. I'm just learning how to do this myself, like a lot of people. All right. Tonight is a pretty heavy topic. Try not to make it that way. Business documentation. How do we do that? You got to write things down. If you're a person with a good idea and you're just one person, or if you're working as a small team, you have to write things down. You got to learn how to document everything. Very, very important for the future. You got to kind of get in that mindset. That's the difference between a successful business and a confusing business. Even if you hire consultants or engineers to come in and do some consulting work for you, you're going to need some kind of documentation to let the team know where you are and what progress you're being made and things like that. If you have investors or any kind like that, you're going to have documentation to show them evidence of progress, which is very important. You meet people, you forget their names, you don't remember events or meetings or things like that, if that works, even webinars. Very important to write those things down. I'm going to show you some examples of how I organize myself. Not that I'm the be-all end-all. In fact, a lot of college programs are wholly devoted to business organization. There's a whole line of business organization people. There's efficiency experts that will talk about the best ways to organize yourself and the best ways even to organize your email, which is a skill that you have to learn, especially if you're dealing with a lot of different email inboxes. If you have a small business, chances are pretty good. Boy, you have at least 3 emails. You have a personal email, you have a company email, and you have some kind of information email that you have to deal with. Boy, trying to keep up with that stuff is very confusing. You have to learn proper documentation for that. Okay, so that's good. So let's get into the presentation. I'm going to just show you some basic things about company documentation. Again, how I do it, and how I say you should do it. So this is what the internet says about company documentation. We're going to start there because this is the ugly part of it. Company documentation. Business documents means all books, records, files, business records, plans, reports, correspondence, documentation. In respect of agreements, financial, okay, this is what the dictionary definition of company documentation is. And you have to keep all this stuff. Very important that you understand this. Especially if you're dealing with things like investors, they're going to want documentation. You're going to have to understand all of this stuff. But instead of that, we're going to turn to my version of this, which is the simple S business documentation. So what I'm going to be outlining tonight is the simplest business documentation that you can have to possibly start, and I'm going to keep track just to keep yourself sane, knowing all this stuff. right? How to start writing things down. Welcome to business. You're going to have to start writing things down. You have to do two things a lot. You're going to have to talk a lot, and you have to write things down. Well, this is one of the skills you have to do, to learn how to write things down. Okay. You have to pick a way to do it. There's a lot of ways to do it. In fact, if you go to Staples, there's a whole aisle filled with organization, books, and things like that. You open up your app, your phone, there's tons of apps and things to help you get organized. The trick is to pick one that doesn't get in your way. That's the biggest thing with dealing with electronic tools and even paper tools, dealing with tools of any kind. You got to pick the method that works the best for you, that's the most productive, one that doesn't really get in your way. I find that, personally, the apps and things, you spend more time and effort trying to organize the app than you actually do trying to organize your day. So you have to be very careful about the apps that you pick. And you got to, for me, I kind of try to pick ones that simply don't really get in my way. Hence, I tend to gravitate toward a book. Right? Read a book. So there are a couple of things that you could do right off the bat. Very, very cheap, very, very easy. Make one of these methods part of your daily routine. You will have a much, much easier life, even in your personal life. Especially if you're a dude like me. Don't remember anything. Okay. Have you seen one of these? They give them away at the card store, at the Hallmark store. It's like a small calendar. It's a diary, a day plan. Very, very small one. So if you look at mine, I'll show you one. Let's see. It's full. I write down what I did every day, where I was. Every single day. Ask me where I was on August 11th. I can tell you. I can tell you what I did on August 11th, 2020. I have these that go back about a decade. Seriously, I've used that go back a long time. I keep them. I don't know why. I'm trying to build maybe I'm trying to build a brick out of it. But I keep this. Very important. So you give them for free. It takes a second to do. I keep it with me. It's a very small book. All you gotta do is write it down. I'll show you. Let's go to the main scene. Here. One of these little Hallmark books. Maybe you've seen the big book. I keep them. My mother-in-law gives them to me for free. Fantastic. It's a great gift. I love it. Every day. Sometimes they're really full. This super full. Sometimes they're not so full. This one. Thanksgiving. Daily planner. Every day. Somebody asks you what you did on March 23rd. Well, you could tell them. No kidding. And there's no arguing with that either. There's no, what did I do on March 23rd? March 23rd? Oh, yeah, I was in New Rochelle. See, I happen to know that because I have a calendar and a day planner. Like I said, I have been going back a decade. It's not a bad idea. It's a very, very easy little tiny thing to do. Small calendar. You could use notepad apps and phones. A lot of people write everything down on phones. In fact, I have coworkers of mine that take a picture of everything for some reason. Take a picture of documents. Snap a picture. You show them something, you go, oh, that's great. Let me take a picture. Take a picture. Take a picture. They have tons of pictures. I don't know how they organize it, but that's something that you can do. They see documents. They see things that they like. They see links. Even I see them taking pictures of the computer for some reason, but I have some people that their method of organization is through taking pictures of things, and that works for them. That's perfectly fine. The back of business cards, great idea. This happens to be my business card right here. Look, there's empty space right on the back of the business card. You can write things down when people give them to you. So they give you, someone who's representative like me, gives you somebody, hi, I'm John Ash, here's my business card. Take the business card. You immediately do this. Hi. Okay, great. Guy. Hair. No glasses. No mustache. Now you know kind of what I look like. No glasses, no mustache. Just wait later on when you go home and you're like, what did that guy John Ash look like? Aha! I have it written on the back. Hair. No mustache. No glasses. This way you have a pretty good idea. The date. Put the date that you get everybody that gives you a business card. First thing you do is pick up a pen. Write the date. December 4th, 2020. This way you know when you met them. Very, very easy. All you gotta do is write things down. It's a free skill. Lots of business cards. You could even use your own business cards. If nobody likes your business card and you have a lot extra, you got them right here. You just keep them right in your wallet. Always have a place to write down. Fantastic. Back of business cards, really good. Especially in the old days when you went to expos and shows and things like that. Boy, I used to have a whole stack of business cards. At the end of the day, I couldn't remember what anybody looked like or who anybody was. Luckily, somebody told me the good advice to write on the back of the business card, right when you're talking to them, right when you're talking to somebody, jot down what they look like, where you guys were. I don't know, Craft Expo 2020, I don't know, second floor, hair, no glasses, no mustache. You know, mustache, nothing, no. That's how I do it. I do hair, glasses, mustache. That's right. Yeah, I guess that guy did have hair. I remember that guy. That's how I do it. Let's take a look at. Okay, so I'll show you some of the examples of how I organize myself. For a long time, I walked around with this. I had stacks of these tiny books. They're really, really tiny. They're little tiny notebooks. Really, really tiny if you're looking at. I wrote everything down. Every thought that I had. I organized it by dates. I put the date on it. Here's one. A long time ago, I went to the museum and I wrote something down about a meteorite that I thought was very interesting. But everything that I thought of, I drew a picture. Here's a sketch. For some reason, I did it at the Guggenheim Museum, oddly enough. So I guess I had this with the Guggenheim. But everybody I saw and everybody I wrote, everybody I met, I wrote down. I walked around with these little tiny books. They're like $3, got a bunch. Have you seen these? Yeah, I know you have. This is an organizer. I'm sure you've seen all the stuff. Okay, and here's a wealth of stuff. If you like stuffing things in pockets, you can stuff things in pockets here. You can write things down. There's a calendar, assignments. There's even a little graph paper on the back. Let's see if I have anything on it. I don't. It's nice little graph paper for you. You can draw a little thing. In fact, I love graph paper. In fact, that's another way I organize myself. I have this. Back to school time is a great time to buy notebooks. They're cheap. I love graph paper. I use graph paper for everything. I write down JavaScript code right there. It's nice. What else do I have? I have prototype information. Here's a prototype that I drew quick on a piece of graph paper. Here's the other side. I drew a piece of graph paper. Here's a sketch of a beach. Guess I wanted to be somewhere else that day. I don't know what happened to me. Here's some other notes. Here's some dimensions. I took some measurements and just some dimensions quick. Here's some prices of things that I was looking at with the project. So graph paper is good because you could draw this way or this way. Yeah, I kind of like that. I love graph paper. In fact, here's another kind of graph paper. I walk around with this all the time. This is my main go-to book. Guess what? Graph paper. So in this book in particular, book is very valuable to me. And if you get one in your life, it will become very valuable to you too. I have all this stuff in here. I write everything, every single thing down in here. So this particular book I have grouped into projects. I do that. I'll show you my secret. This is the John Ash secret. I do this. I fold the page in half. I dog ear a page, and then I can go to the next project, and then if I want to flip to the next one, guess what? Here it is. Here's the modules. But it's very, very easy to like set up a bookmark for yourself. You can flip through the book pretty easily, and then you can find your own projects, your own projects. And there's miscellaneous stuff in the back that I decided that didn't really fit anywhere. But I have these books and I love them. I write everything down. In fact, you will never ever catch me at a meeting without a book. If I tell you I'm going to meet you and talk about business, I'm going to have this book or some kind of one of these books with me. And it's not a bad idea for you to get in that habit also. Find a pen that does not blow up in your pocket, or a pencil if you like it. And every meeting that you go to, walk with this thing. It's not too big. Even if you have to walk with something like this in your pocket, a tiny little book. But every time you meet somebody to talk about business or anything like that, or you think there's going to be some good ideas exchanged, good information exchange, gotta have a book. You gotta. You have to make that as part of your life if you're going to run a successful enterprise. I can pretty much guarantee that Elon Musk has books stashed everywhere. Next, we're going to talk about the technical documents. So technical documents, how do you work with those? There's some basics. When I say technical documents, what I'm really talking about is things like this. schematics, part sheets, projects that you're working on, technical projects that you're working on. So I'll just give you an example of how I do it. I'm a pretty well organized dude. Whenever I have projects, keep them in a folder, they're like projects. I tend to staple all of the documents for one project together on the corner, keep them in stack this way, in case it can happen. But I have a schematic on my thing right here. There are two circuit boards involved in this. Here's the front circuit board, here's the final output of the third circuit board, here's the main circuit board PCB, and then I have the schematic all stapled together and ready to go. So I have this. I have every project that I make, I keep all together in this folder. Very, very important. And now we're going to talk about how to exactly to manage those things and how I manage them. This is the basics on technical documents. Thank you. Where am I? Revision numbers. Revision numbers are very, very important. Might seem frivolous. I'm sure you've seen them everywhere. Every single Microsoft update has a number attached to it. It's a rev number. Revision numbers. So you can start at 1 if you want to, or start before 1 if you have a pre-production. The way I usually do it is a whole number increment for a whole revision. So I have revision 1.0, the 1, right, for my first iteration. A dotted number for partial revisions or fixes. So dot 1.1 if it's a fix of the first revision. You get that? First version. So you got the first version. In fact, I'll show you one of mine, actually, if you want to see it. Before I go on, let's check the chat. Nobody's talking in the chat. I guess I'm good. So here are two circuit boards. They look just kind of the same. One has components on them, but they're both red and they both have shiny things. You wouldn't be able to tell which one was which, except I was smart. I have to see it. No, we can't. I put revision Rev 1 in the back. When I got the new parts, this is actually, oh my God, they're both Rev 1. No, what a jerk. Well, I gotta go. See, good thing I knew. Good thing I put the rev number on it. So you always write the revision number on the circuit board. This way you can tell which one is which. Very, very important. If you're going to sell anything, you want to make sure that you have revision numbers on the back. If you want to support anything, if you sell products such as these, you have to have support. If somebody has a warranty claim against it, they claim that they got it and it didn't work, you're going to have to know what they're talking about. You're going to have to know what batch it came from. You're going to have to know what revision it is. There's different revisions are different. So you got to start basically with 1. If you have a prototype, some people start at point somethings, like 0.5, 0.6, 0.9 for the prototype. And then once they get a full working version, the full first iteration, they move to revision 1, something closer to production. Perfectly fine, whatever works for you, just as long as you can tell the difference between one and the other. So when you're assembling them and putting them together and selling products, you could actually tell the difference between what you're selling. Let me get a revision 2. Hold on one second, I'm kind of bothered. All right, I'm making a lot of these, so I got a lot on the workbench over there. So these modules say, I can't see, Rev 2. Right there, Rev 2. And these are the first circuit boards. These ones say Rev 1. You tell the difference. If you look at these things, there's pretty much no way that you can tell right off the bat, unless you make a major change to it, which one is Rev 1 and which one is Rev 2, even especially if it's an incremental revision. If you fix a small thing, like you fix a screen printing, or you fix some kind of a circuit problem, there's no way that you can probably tell by eye very quickly if it's a Rev 1 or a Rev 1.1. Write it down. Makes sense. It only takes a second. In fact, it's free. Second thing is make up a part number. Everything has a part number. Make one up. Part number 3053. It's really not a good idea to start with 0 because part number 1 looks kind of weird. If you say you have part number 1, people go, oh, I guess you only have one part. I tend to start at 300. So I have part number 301, 302. Kind of gives like a false pretense that you have 300 other projects or something. But however you feel like doing it, to make up a part number, call something. Call it, I don't know, you can put letters in there or things like that. The part number for this one happens to be, and I wrote it down on the face of the thing, it's 69132. Means nothing, but it's a random number that's on the thing here, 69132. In fact, I think the PCB fabricator might actually put that on there. They just called it my part number. If I ever have to get a warranty claim on this, or somebody says that it didn't work for some reason, I could ask them what the part number is and what the revision is, and I'll know exactly when it was made and who made it, and I'll know all the whole history of it. And if not, if it doesn't really work out, I could just send them a new one. But just make up a part number for anything. Date everything. This is very, very important. Everything needs dates. Put a date on everything. All the technical documents that you have. Put a date. Make sure there's a date in the title block. Look at this one. This is a good one. This is a good example. Look at my title block. Final. 10/8. What's the problem with this? There's no year. But chances are pretty good it's 2020. I didn't put in main PCB revision 2, final 10/8. So I know that this is the final one. The other parts on it. Don't look. This is my secret schematic. So you got to learn how to put dates on everything. Goes back to what I was saying with this book. The more that you understand, the more that you remember and dates and things like that, the easier your life will be. That's okay. Web documents. Here's more basics. When you're writing code, if it's a microcontroller code, or if you're writing web source code, or any kind of computer code, the comments are free. In fact, when it gets compiled, all of the comments get removed anyway. The only one that's going to see it is you and whoever's working on the code. Add notes and initials in the web source page. Put 2 slashes and write John Ash and the date, whenever it was. I can show you. I don't have any examples ready, but I can show you a couple of web pages that I've created, and I'll show you the source code. Maybe I'll get to it next time. And it always has the date that I made it, some kind of like revision number, a fake one, I guess, just so I can remember who did it, who did what and when, right? Which is who did what and when. This brings us to the next thing. Change tracking, change control. Got to keep track of that stuff. Change control. The who, what, and when. This is critical. This is a critical skill. If you have a contractor come in, if you have a consultant come in, if you start to develop with a team, if you start to develop with a warehouse or a parts manufacturer or a circuit board manufacturer, if you have investors, you're really, really going to need, if you deal with banks, if you deal with any of this stuff, you're really, really going to need to understand how to make a change control log. I'm going to show you an example. I actually have a small one. Nice of me. Change control. Change control just keeps track of the changes that you made and when you did it and who did it. Change control records, change control records, tracks changes. Let me fix that. Who called me non-professional? Let me fix change control records. Let's try it again. Change control records. Ah, I messed it up again. Hold on a minute. I'll get it right. Ah. Records. Change control records and tracks changes to technical documents. Change control records and tracks changes to technical documents. What does that mean? Change control record is to inform the group, remind yourself of changes, and track progress. Really, really important. Here's a little example of a change control record. Example change control record. Very, very simple, but let's look at the ingredients that go into a change control record. 24th November 2020, added submit button to about page, lower third, JAsh. So I give that lower third, if I deal with a web page or some kind of big long document, something that's bigger than a page or so, I tend to put in my change control about where it is, in the middle, lower third, upper third, whole page, which you're going to see right now. Like that. 30 November 2020, fixed kerning on main page text, upper third, JAsh. See, now that tells me that I did it on the 30th of November 2020. Fixed the kerning on the main page. Where? Main page. Where exactly? The upper third of the page. Who did it? JAsh. When? The 30th November 2020. Beautiful. December 4th, 2020. Adjusted the size of the background graphic to fit mobile Dex 1. Full page. JAsh. Oh, you couldn't see that. My face is covered. 10 December 2020, changed, repaired the link to Twitter, all pages, footer, JAsh. So here's just a good example of what you could do when you did that. I also have change control, which I'll show you on my schematics. Take a look at that if you're interested in it. So if my technical documents, here's one thing. So look at my change control, updated for Rev 2. What's the date? I did it on October 10th. Removed R6, change values for R13. Okay, added protection diodes, added 2 LED SMBC. Change control in your technical documents. Got to do that just to remind yourself of what you're doing and what you did. And if you have a team, it's vital. You have to remember. If you have a team, they're gonna kind of want to know what you did and when you did it. You could institute a change control in your organization so that anybody who makes a change can have access to the change control log and put their initials and the date. In fact, you have to encourage it. That's part of your job. If you're an entrepreneur and you are also the project manager or the lead on something, if you're the only one that's in charge, you have to organize some kind of change control or record keeping, things like that. So let's go back to the beginning, quick to wrap up. So the company documentation, business documents means all books, records. Okay, that's fine. All of that is important too, but the most important thing is just you can learn how to write things down. It's a good skill. Institute one of these things that I showed you right there. You'll have it easier life. How long have we been going for? 28 minutes live? That's nice. Half an hour. Nobody's in the chat. Ian is there. He gave me a dot. That's a shout out. Let's see how many confirmed viewers we have. Screen is healthy. Confirmed viewers 3. Doesn't include me. Screen is healthy. Okay, that's pretty good. So going on pretty good. So I showed you all my little secrets and I showed you my organization methods. I hope that you come up with your own in the future. I hope this was useful for you. This is the DIY Startup with John Ash. We're going to do this again next Friday at 8 o'clock. I encourage you to be in the chat. The most powerful part of this thing that we do as entrepreneurs is community. Sometimes I know it feels like you're in a car wreck when you're trying to start your own business from a good idea, but you're not alone. It's a very common thing. And there's people around you. There's a large community of people around you that are there just to help you out. In fact, there's a lot of people that are going through similar things. In current times, it might be harder to meet. There's people going through the same thing, but I'm pretty sure they're out there. Everybody wants to share a war story. So I'm part of the E2E Society. You can go to our webpage, edesociety.com. edesociety.com is growing, and it will be a place where we're going to link together a community of resources for entrepreneurs to meet other entrepreneurs. E2E Society is Entrepreneur Society, and to get help, to get resource help. Because there's a lot of things out there that can help you. You don't have to go it alone. Well, how about we say this? You do have to go it alone, but it doesn't have to be as difficult and as scary as you think it does. Because there are people out there, organizations out there, like state organizations, regional organizations, there's your county, your state, your town might even have things to encourage business growth. And all you have to do is find out where they are and how to engage them. And you'll have a easier time building your business. Things like that. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up. Unless anybody has anything to talk about? Comments? No? Yeah. That's pretty good. I'm happy with this. I hope that this was helpful to you. So come back next Friday night at 8 o'clock, and we're going to do it again. Okay? Thanks. This has been John Ash on a show called DIY Startup, brought to you by E2E Society. Thanks a lot.